Recycling in the UK. In 2016, the UK generated 222.9 million tons of waste, with about 12% originating from households. Households in the UK produced a little less than 27 million tons of waste in 2017, equating to nearly 409 kilograms per person. So where did all the waste go? Recycling was the most common treatment type in the UK in 2016, accounting for 48.5% of waste treatment. However, it's important to note that the waste sent to recycling facilities is not necessarily recycled. Then, in second place came landfills, which accounted for 24.4% of all UK waste disposed. In 2016, the recycling rate for household waste was at 45.2% and rose by 0.5% in 2017. Interestingly, around 70% of UK packaging waste was recycled or recovered in 2017, exceeding the EU's target of recovering or recycling at least 60% of packaging waste. The problems with recycling in the UK. Plastic waste exported out of the UK. Not all UK plastic waste is recycled in the UK. Around 2/3 of our plastic waste, 683,000 tons, is sent to other countries that can process it at a cheaper cost. China was previously the world's largest plastic waste importer, but in 2018 it declared a ban on international plastic waste due to pollution and contamination concerns. As a result, Malaysia has now taken the lead and imported 105,000 tons of UK plastic waste between 2017 and 2018. Exporting waste to Asia for recycling brings about some key questions, like whether these countries should be our plastic dumping grounds, and whether the waste is being recycled properly and in safe working conditions. In Malaysia, concerns over illegal trade of plastic waste have risen. The problem is twofold, with UK companies exporting unrecyclable plastic waste illegally, and companies in Malaysia not actually recycling or treating recyclable waste in a responsible way. For instance, a Malaysian city called Jenjarom is teeming with 19,000 tons of plastic waste. Illegal recycling facilities sprung up in Jenjarom and began burning non-recyclable waste. The toxic fumes immediately started causing health issues, like violent coughing attacks, for the 30,000 residents there. Although these illegal facilities have been shut down, the plastic continues to build up and has resulted in the landfill-like transformation of Jenjarom. Recyclable, in theory versus in practice. Despite most plastics being recyclable in theory, in practice, many are not actually recycled. This is because the process can be expensive and complicated. Labels indicating recyclability also do not necessarily mean that the product will be recycled. In response to this issue, On-Pack Recycling Label, also known as OPRL in the UK, has introduced a clearer labeling system, including widely recycled, accepted by 75% of local councils, and check local recycling, accepted by between 20% and 75% of councils. They also include not yet recycled, for those plastics that are not recyclable in practice in the UK. This clear consumer communication is key to tackling our recycling problems. Recyclability uncertainty. Aside from OPRL introducing this clear labeling system, the recyclability of products is nonetheless really confusing. It's easy to just assume that any plastic can be chucked into the mixed recycling bin, but that is not so. You risk the chance of contaminating a full bag of recyclable goods by muddling it up. Fortunately, Recycle Now has a segment on its website dedicated to explaining to us what goods can be recycled and which ones can't. No matter what it might be, from nappies to hearing aids, passing by pet bedding, Recycle Now has got you covered. If things are still unclear, here are 2 tips that are imperative to know. Firstly, it's best to follow the mantra, if in doubt, leave it out, because of how non-recyclable goods can mess up a whole batch. Secondly, always, rinse your materials until they are clean before throwing them away. Depending on the type of material, a very clean one can be recycled back into exactly the material it used to be, whereas a semi-clean one has a chance of being recycled into a less high-quality one. Unclear benefits of plastic recycling. Wait, what was that last part about being recycled into a lower quality material? This is what they call downcycling, which is when a product is recycled into something of much lower quality than its initial input. For instance, PET bottles are downcycled as their polymer chains are broken in the chemical recycling process. As such, the recycled outcome of PET plastic is used for fibers in clothing, carpets, and other fabrics, which are then themselves not recycled. If you wanted to make a new PET bottle using recycled PET, you would need to add 90% virgin PET, which, as you may know, is made from non-renewable crude oil. Furthermore, the actual carbon-reducing impact of recycling is unclear. The waste needs to be transported and even shipped in the case of exporting, washed, chopped, and then melted. It's clearly a very energy and carbon-intense process, for a recycling rate in the UK of less than 50%. Finally, let's follow the waste hierarchy and start by trying to eliminate #wastefree-living our waste, or reduce it as much as possible. Reusing and refilling is also the best way to go, although try and not reuse plastic goods too much, as hormone-like chemicals leach into our foods and mess with our endocrines. For info, it's best to stay away from anything with BPA, although there are many other chemicals that are equally as toxic. Either way, I guess the best way is to really try and eliminate plastic from our lives, and to recycle it properly when we can't.